Click. Now to the NFL and a story that broke earlier this week from Dallas. Cowboys quarterback Dak Prescott finally has a long-term deal he's been seeking, and it's a big one, 4 years at $160 million. The $40 million average is second in the NFL to only Patrick Mahomes, and the deal includes the highest signing bonus in NFL history at $66 million. Prescott was franchise tagged during last offseason, and his ankle injury in week 5 put his future in doubt, but those doubts have been erased with this new deal. All right, Drink, what are your thoughts on this Dallas Dak money bag?
I was. It's not often that you see an injury actually create leverage for a player, an injury to themselves. Usually that devalues a player. But in this instance, it seems like the injury actually helped Dak Prescott accelerate a new contract. And let me be clear. I know I'm on wax saying if I'm the Cowboys, I wouldn't pay him this. And I'm still on the wax for saying it. But I would say the chips kind of fell in Dak's lap. And then now the Cowboys had to readjust to what's happening now and what's going to happen here in a couple of seasons. And I'm just fairly confident Dak agent sat down with Jerry and Steven and said, listen, you don't have to pay him now. But if he comes back and get you to the playoffs, when that salary cap goes up, because it's going to go up, we coming with the Brinks truck. We coming for our stock exchange. We want it all. Like, we coming for it all. And I think, with Jerry Jones and Stevie Jones being such business savvy individuals, they seen the writing on the wall and was like, listen, this sounds like some outrageous money right now, but this is not going to be nothing once we start back bringing in, filling up the stadiums, and we get our new TV deal and all this other stuff. The cap is gonna go up, and Dak and his people know that. So you franchise tag me if you want, but I come out here and ball, you gonna wish you paid me. And this is why I think it's the biggest culprit of Dallas signing him at this deal. And I mean, you look at this deal and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe Dak got paid so much money. Oh man, he got the largest signing bonus in NFL history. Let me tell you something about the signing bonus. Yeah, it's guaranteed, but you don't get all that in one spot. It's spread it out throughout the length of the contract. So it is broken down over the next 4 years. You don't just get a check for $66 million. That's how the old NFL used to work. This NFL don't work like that. So it is spread out. Is it a lot of money? Absolutely. But who the hell to say he don't deserve that signing bonus? Because up until this injury, Dak was a pretty durable quarterback. That you can say what you want about him. He was pretty durable. And the best ability is availability. In any sport, they'll tell you that. If you're available, even though you might not be the best, at least you're available. So we'll pay you for availability. We really will. It won't be as high as that other guy that's really, really good, but we will pay you for that. It is a skill. LeBron James has showed us in the NBA being available is a skill. You might not think so, but when your team when they can depend on you, game in and game out, that is a skill, and you get paid accordingly to it. And I feel like that was one of the things with Dak. Dak probably said, up until this injury, I've been here. I've been doing everything. Okay, I haven't played the best. I got it. That's why you haven't paid me until this point. So, you know what I'm saying? Everything has a cause and effect. Cool. Now let's talk about something else that probably helped Dak get paid. Andy Dalton. I was on record saying it's not that big of a gap between Dak Prescott and Andy Dalton. The only thing, the biggest gap between those two is how much one want to get paid and how much the other one is getting paid. That's the gap, right? So, we talk, we spitball, brainstorm, and we throw all these theories out, and we throw out our opinions, and we thinking like, if Dalton comes out here and does anything for Dallas, if he gets them to the playoffs, it's a wrap. Dak done lost all leverage. But, Dalton came out there and played like a $3 million quarterback, I guess. And, the rest is history. And another reason I thought about why you would make this deal. All right, so now you done locked up Zeke. Now you done locked up Dak. You done locked up Amari. You still got some work to do on the offensive line, but you do have some of those guys locked up. Then you got Gallup and Lamb still on their rookie contracts. So your offense, for the most part, is pretty set now. You spend a lot of money on that side of the ball, but it's pretty set. Tight end, and then for me, it allows you to work on that defense because I think that was the part of the Dallas Cowboys that people overlooked, but that was their biggest. They couldn't stop anyone. Yeah. They could not stop anyone. You let Byron Jones go to Miami. You should have kept him. Your guys that was performing, they on drugs or they beating somebody on the defensive line. Gregory something. Randy Gregory, that's his name. Yeah. You suspended him so many times because he don't want to get his act right. And then you even brought Alden Smith from retirement. We know his trouble passed, but at least he performed some this year. He tried. He wasn't much performance going on that side of the ball, but he was trying. You didn't get what you thought you was gonna get out of Jalen Smith. Van Der Esch was in and out of. So and we talked about the cornerback, the secondary situation. That was just. Hey, who want to eat all you can eat token? Come on over here and play Dallas because that's what you're going to get. So, with all that said, it wasn't just a Dak problem. I think they sat down and looked and said, yes, it wasn't just a Dak problem. And if we keep fumbling around, we might end up paying him more than we have to here in the future. Now it's on Dak. Dak has zero excuses now. When he comes back next season, we don't want to hear it. We don't want to hear none of that bull. Boop. You got paid. You got players. The defense going to have to figure it out. McCarthy, this will be his second year. Kellen Moore, this will be his third year. Listen, where the excuses going to come from, but we shouldn't have them. It ain't a money thing. It ain't a skill thing. It's not a coaching thing. Well, it could be a coaching thing. But you got continuity inside this organization. So, my thoughts on this is I think it can help both teams. I see the benefit. Dak get his long-term security. Dallas gets him a little cheaper now than they would in a couple of years, I think. And I think it works out. Now, let's see America's team. Let's go. Now, everybody got what they want. The firing is smoothed out. Let's see if y'all can make it happen. If they don't win the NFC East this year, listen, I don't. It's gonna be a big free agency for them off season because they about to cut so much dead weight in this off season if they don't win the NFC East. That's my opinion on
it. That's really a great point, and I'll start there. The NFC East, I think we can project Philadelphia about to be a mess. It's about to be a real mess in Philadelphia, although I'm rooting for Jalen Hurts. But as far as I don't know what you see for the New York Football Giants or the old Washington Red Team, as I like to call them. But I don't project them to be all that formidable. I think Washington's going to be competitive because that's what Ron Rivera teams do. But they got questions at quarterback. And then, the Giants, they made some improvements. We think Joe Judge, can coach. But nobody's looking at either one of those teams, and they especially not going to look at Philadelphia and say, "Oh man, these some powerhouse." So that right there, what you said, yeah, Dallas, you may want to win the NFC, and it's time to win something real. And it has to. I think it has to be a division, especially with the quarterback situation. Dak Prescott is the best quarterback in the NFC East. It ain't Daniel Jones, it ain't Jalen Hurts, and it ain't whatever Washington's going to trot out there. So. There's expectations right now, not only because Dak Prescott has accomplished some things. He's made the playoffs a couple times. He's done that, but he's a $40 million quarterback now. So you don't get the rookie contract, 4th round pick excuse. You don't get the fact that, I'm playing on a franchise tag and I'm putting myself out there and I broke my ankle and all the rest of it. You don't get that now. Dallas, if nothing else, the best part of this from the team perspective, Jerry Jones, Stephen Jones, and everybody else, is, you know what? We've done something for ourselves and say, hey, we care about our players. We take care of our players because they didn't have to do this. And this is not something I would have done. And I don't believe for 1 second that Dak Prescott is worth this kind of money. There is value in having Dak Prescott. But what Dak Prescott was looking for and what he ultimately got is not the quarterback he is. He's a durable guy up to last season. I think he's got an element of clutch in big moments. I think Dak Prescott will come through for you. But I don't look at Dak Prescott as a guy that can carry you to a Super Bowl. I don't look at him as a guy that's going to elevate, the rest of, a subpar supporting cast and elevate those guys to the next level. I think he's a guy that needs significant help. He needs a strong running game. He needs He needs a great offensive line. He needs a competent defense. And if you look at the history of Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys, his rookie season, Dallas was a very good team. They had the rushing champion. That was back when the offensive line was no doubt the best offensive line in the league. The defense has come and went through the years, but it's had years where it's been really, really good. And we have to, and I always bring this up, in 2019, right when the Cowboys chose to pay Ezekiel Elliott, they inexplicably changed their offensive identity with Kellen Moore. They went away from being a run-first, power-run football team, and they all of a sudden, like, you know what, we just want to air it out. We want to be high speed, like all the other, the new age, kind of like, when Steph Curry started popping threes from everywhere and analytics and Houston Rockets, and then now everybody got to shoot threes. There can be no other way to do things. I look at Dallas, to me, has that's the way they've went, and I think it's been a mistake. I think
Let me caveat to that. Is it possible that they had to change the way that they wanted to play because they thought Zeke wasn't what they paid for? You know what I mean?
I guess that's possible, but that's awful curious. What did you pay him for? That's always been my problem. If whoever is paid the big top dollars should be who you're relying on. It still baffles me that they paid Zeke, what was it, 4 for $60? I think that's what it was, which at the time, I think was the biggest contract for a running back. And they just all of a sudden, well, you know what? We paid you all that money, but we'd like to change things up a little bit. We're actually going to lean more on, the guy making about $2 million, and we'll just throw the ball up and down the football field. I don't like that. And I think for Dallas to get where they want to go, I don't think Dak Prescott flinging the ball, 600 times a year is going to do it. I think they need to get back to Ezekiel Elliott, a strong offensive line, control the clock. Dak makes key plays on third downs. That's what he can do. But, judging by what they've done recently and who Mike McCarthy is as a coach, because you remember Mike McCarthy's not a guy who historically relies on the running game. So that doesn't inspire confidence in me. The best thing I can say about Dallas, it's a public relations move. And that's not a good way to run a franchise. The key thing always for me at the quarterback position, because that's the first, if you're serious about winning a Super Bowl, you got to find a quarterback that can get you there. And there's two ways to do it. You either get a quarterback that can absolutely carry you and make up for shortcomings from other guys, or you have a quarterback that isn't necessarily that guy, and you have to build the team in such a way that everybody else is so great that they can make up for the quarterback shortcomings. What Dallas has done now, in my opinion, paid.
So those two scenarios, do you got a quick example of both of those scenarios?
So yeah, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady. They're examples of guys that can lead, that can absolutely lead teams, and they can make up for maybe other guys. For Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs defense. It improved, but it wasn't a championship level defense. The other examples I would have for how about Peyton Manning in his last season, when he was no longer the Peyton Manning that was winning all these MVPs and was putting all these crazy numbers up. The Denver Broncos won the 2015 Super Bowl because of their defense. That's what happened. And then I would also say, on a lesser extent, as well as I do, Ryan Tannehill, Kirk Cousins. The Vikings and Titans, the success they've had, the quarterbacks have been, competent. They've been reliable. They made key plays. But they're built on the running attack with Dalvin Cook and Derrick Henry, respectively. That's what I see with Dallas. I think Dak Prescott is maybe he's on the same level and the same playing field as Ryan Tannehill and Kirk Cousins. That's not going to get you a Super Bowl. And the problem is now you've paid him, the contract Dak Prescott just got, it makes Ryan Tannehill and Kirk Cousins contract look like bargains. And I just think in the end, this contract, unless if they're going to win anything, it has to happen right now. Because what I think will happen is, as guys, these young fellas like a Michael Gallup, a CeeDee Lamb, and you can throw in whoever else you want that has not got paid yet, as their contracts come up to their expiration, there's going to be more and more Byron Jones type guys. You can't keep them because of the amount of money you've invested in guys like Dak and guys like Zeke. And don't forget, the Tyron Smiths of the world, Zach Martin, Lyle Collins, Jalen Smith, DeMarcus Lawrence. They've paid a lot of guys. And it's really hard to imagine how many more guys they'll be able to keep at top dollar, because they've maxed out a lot of other guys at top dollar. And in the end, I don't think, I think they have to win the NFC East. And if they can't do that at minimum, this will be a failure.